rewarding. Now, to share a couple of things that I thought of after the fact that I should have done. One is this rebar really sticking out of these shouldn't have just been in the pit. I should have stubbed out rebar about a foot or so all the way down through here so that I had rebar tying both slabs together all the way. And I just didn't think of it. All right, guys, so the next thing we're gonna do, we got the forms off of this, and taking these forms off so quick, I mean, the very next day, you want to be careful about walking on your edges and stuff because they're still, you know, it's still pretty green, and you can crumble the edges off and kind of tear up the finish. I let my boy ride his bike in here a little bit, and he didn't hurt anything, but he fell down a couple times and kind of worried me he was going to gouge it or something. It's probably, you know, pushing it a little bit, but he was excited about it, so it is what it is. But we're going to try to cut our relief joint here. I'm going to push that too. One, because I'm going to do it with just a regular circular saw and a masonry blade. So the way you do these relief cuts, from what I've read, is you want 1/4 to 1/3 of your thickness of concrete. That's how deep you want to cut your relief joint. So we poured on average 5 inches of concrete. So we're going to go with an 1¼ inch depth blade setting. And so we'll cut an 1¼ inch if this saw will do it. So we'll see how that works. I may have to go rent a saw to do this, but I wanted to get it done today if I could. All right, guys, so that's the first time I've done that. Should have wore some ear protection. I thought about the dust, but I didn't think about the noise. I'm gonna go in and get some earmuffs for the next cut. But Harbor Freight Masonry blade, the same blade that I used to cut the metal for the building. I never replaced it, same old blade. I cut all the metal for my last building with it, cut the metal for this building, and now I just cut this concrete 1¼ inch deep with a regular Craftsman circular saw that is 20 years old. I got it when I first got married, so it's about seen its last days, but still strong enough to knock out that cut, so I'm excited for that. I actually am a little surprised at how much dust. I didn't know if cutting it this soon if it would be wet enough that there wouldn't be a lot of dust, but a fair amount of dust, so I'm glad I wore the respirator. That went well, so let's get this other one marked out, and we'll go ahead and cut it. All right, guys, so we got our 2 joints cut. They say cut them about every 10 feet. So what I actually did, since we have a 28-foot building, I went 9 feet and 9 feet. And the main reason I did that was because going 9 foot and 9 foot nearly centered up where we were at for the lift, to where it puts them a little bit further away from the stress points of the lift. So it leaves this one thick slab all intact and no joints right through the middle of it. I didn't want a joint right next to where the lift is going to bolt down and all of that. So I'm gonna get this dust cleaned up in here and roll up my cord, and then I've got to lay out my grid work for my rebar here, get ready for pouring that. We'll just about be set up and ready to pour the other side here. Man, it's coming right along. I'm really excited about it. Whoops. So apparently I wore my ear protection and forgot my glasses that time. A little bit about these saw joints. You know, I cut that with that Craftsman saw, that Harbor Freight saw blade. I don't know if it would work if this concrete cured longer, because like I said, we're at basically 30 hours after our pour. So it's pretty green, and I think that probably helps it to cut easier. So I would say if you're not going to rent a concrete saw, then you definitely want to plan ahead, be ready, and cut it the very next day. But as you can tell, it worked, got the job done, saved me from having to go rent another tool, so that was nice. So I'm gonna grab the hose and pull in here and spray this stuff out, get it cleaned out. All right, now guys, I was kind of excited to do that part of the video and hose out the dust because obviously it's going to show you where your low spots are and how your floor lays out. And I said going into this, I try not to add too many variables to the whole thing because I'm new at it and I didn't want a whole lot of other things to think about. And so I didn't put any slope on this and I didn't put any drains in it. I kind of think looking back, after knowing what I know now about getting this put down, I probably could have handled at least putting a slope on it, marking the walls and using that and just, you know, sloping it that way. And it might have been a better idea, but as you can see, controlling the variables worked pretty well for me. I've got a pretty nice smooth floor here that's got one little low spot right there that gathered just a little bit of water. Took me 3 broom strokes to push that water out after hosing it down. The good news is our slope on the outside of the garage door there was great because it poured rain all day today and the garage doors weren't even down all the way. And we had no water in here from running back in. So our front slope is just enough to keep water out. So the only time there's gonna be water in here is when I want there to be water in here. If I need to hose the floor down or whatever, it's easy enough to get it cleaned off. I don't have any major puddles here now, and all I did was just a few broom strokes. Didn't even use a squeegee. I'm satisfied with that. That's okay. Now there's going to be some of you people that kind of stuff drives you nuts. You could never live with that. You're probably not the kind of person that wants to be tackling a do-it-yourself concrete job, unless you can get yourself a lot of experience first. But I'm just kind of one of these guys that likes to try stuff myself, and I can live with the consequences, and so this is what I have, and I'm pretty happy with that. See our saw joint come out good and straight. All we did was put a chalk line down. Very nice, very nice. Well, I couldn't stand it. I need some rebar all the way down through here. So I'm gonna drill as deep as I can drill, and I've got 3/8 rebar left over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put them about every foot and a half down through here. All right guys, so this is actually going to work out pretty well. I found me a 3-inch masonry bit that's about 6 inches long, and it's a little stout, but I can drill about 6 inches deep in there and then drive these chunks of rebar back in there. I'm cutting them just a little over a foot long, cutting them out, driving them back in there. I'm not going to get finished tonight because I've got a Bible study that starts here about as quick as I can get a shower. So yeah, that's going to do it for our video. But this is going to make me feel a whole lot better about this. So I'm glad I decided to go ahead and do this. We'll finish it up tomorrow. Thank y'all for watching. Bye-bye.